Question 9. So a little bit more trigonometry to start off with. So this is the cosine rule. Put the 840 on there, put the x on there. They're given to you in the question. And then label up your triangle. So big A here, because that's the angle we're going to use. Small a there. B, C. Throw it in the cosine rule. You have to square root at the end, because it gives you x squared. You want x. And you then have your distance. From the distance, you can work out your time. Distance over speed is time. Use your triangle, and yeah, we're done. This is the hours. They want the minutes. Make sure you convert it properly. Okay, so this one you have to find the distance all the way around. So that's fairly easy. Just add up the three things. You've got the distance from above. So let's just move that down here. So we had the distance above here. We had to work it out for the last question. This is part 2, so we're going to have to use something we've learned from part 1. So yeah, add them all up. There's your distance. Divide it by your speed, and you'll get your time. And the reason why we need our time is because you lose 3.8 litres of fuel per second. So we need this time. This time at the moment is in hours, because the speed was in hours, so kilometres per hour. So we need this hours into seconds. So multiply it by 60 to get it into minutes, multiply by 60 again to get that into seconds. This is how many seconds the plane's in the air for, so 25,000 give or take. Multiply that by 3.8, because you're losing 3.8 litres per second, and you'll have 95,000 litres used, which is less than 100,000, so you'll have enough fuel. Okay. Sine and cos. So sine and cos, they have a period of 360 degrees, or 2 pi, and what that means is that they repeat, so from there to there, they repeat every 360 degrees. Okay, so every 2 pi if you're in radians. Now to work out the period of a formula like this, you just look at the inside of the bracket, and you just do 2 pi over the thing that's multiplied by t. Okay, so that's that. Now, if you want the range, sine and cos, they both go from 1 at the very top to -1 at the very bottom. So sine and cos both do that from 1 to -1. But this thing going from 1 to -1 is multiplied by this number at the beginning. So the biggest it can be, the biggest voltage you can have, is when sine is 1 and it's multiplied by 110 root 2. So the largest is 110 root 2. The smallest it can be is when sine's -1 and you multiply it. So that's your smallest, that's your biggest, that's your range. And what the range is your y values basically. Sketch it. Looks like this. It repeats, and it repeats the other way as well. You could draw it going backwards. So the 1 over 60, or the 2 pi over 120 pi, that's your period. So you just need to show that. It says so here. You could go from there to there, or you could go from here to here. You just need to show that you know what you're talking about there. This is -110 root 2, and this is 110 root 2. Right, they give you a value of t. Just substitute it into the formula at the top, you get your answer. Make sure you're in radians. You need to be in radians here because there's pi. So 120 pi, you automatically know that you're in radians. Next part, so find one value of t when the voltage is 110. So you just write your formula again, but it's 110 where the voltage was. So that's t basically. And a little bit of algebra here. So we want to work out what t is. We need to move everything away. So this 110 we're going to move, we're going to divide. So that gives you 1 when you divide. And divide by root 2, so 1 divided by root 2. Then you're going to move the sign, which means sine -1. Now sine -1 of this fraction is pi over 4. Remember you're in radians because you've got pi's everywhere. So sine -1 over there gives pi over 4. And then you're going to divide by 120 and divide by pi. So that gives you 1 over 480. And that's all in seconds, because again, t's in seconds, it gives you that at the start of the question. Right, Rate of change. That means differentiate. So we need to differentiate. Let's go back up here. Okay, so we need to differentiate this basically, right? So if you differentiate sine, you get cos. So there's my cos, and the bracket stays the same. So you've got cos stays the same. The 110 root 2 is multiplied, you just leave that there. The only thing that's difficult here is you need to be doing the chain rule. So if it was sine x, you just have cos x. If it was sine t, you'd have cos t. Very easy. But if you have sine 5t, you need to multiply by 5 at the beginning. So here we've got cos 110 pi t, you need to multiply by 110 pi. And the reason is you differentiate this bit. Differentiate that bit, the t goes away, you're going to multiply by that. So whenever you've not just got x in there or t in there, you have to do differential and then multiply. You could put this at the end if you were more comfortable. To finish the question, just substitute 2 where t is and you're finished. This is a unit, don't be confused by that. So the answer is just 58646 and you're done.